Hello and welcome to another ClueCon Weekly. In the studio this week, I'm very pleased to have Yuriy Gorlichenko. How are you doing today, Yuriy?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, and it's very pleased to have you here. And I notice you've got a Russian email address there and a Russian name. Are you joining us from Russia today, Yuriy?
Not exactly. So yes, I'm originally from Russia, but I live in last 2 years in the Netherlands. So yeah, but I'm still a really active member of Russian, relative things and everything that depends from Russia. Know a lot of people from Russia.
I see. Well, maybe we can get on to asking you some questions about the Russian VoIP and RTC community before too long. But could you start by giving us a little bit of a background, Yuriy, about how you found your way into the world of communications?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a voice engineer probably last 10 years. Yeah. So I came into this amazing world of voice via internet. Yes, with a asterisk. And then grown up with all additional services. So last, I would say, maybe 6 years, my specialization is to build cloud services and cloud systems, and it's a kind of cloud platforms as a services or PBX as a service, cloud PBX as a service, and kind of. Yeah.
Right. So, but just backing up there, you came from the web world. What were you doing in the web world before, and what sort of necessitated you to move towards voice and real-time communications?
So, actually, I didn't come from the web world. I mostly came from the system administration world. Yeah, I duplicating this way, all voice engineers probably doing. Yeah, I was a system administrator, and then started to specialize on voice just because I had to maintain one of the systems and started to learn it. And yeah, so that's how voice became my, let's say, main specialization, and that's why I started to be more professional there.
I see. And you said that you started off with asterisk. What is it you were doing with asterisk at first?
So I think I went through the most usual way for all administrators or for all voice engineers that start to do this. So it's a small PBXs and separate of the same things, but I became a user of asterisk because of my needs was to extend some functionalities that didn't give me visibility to extend by my English. I started to use codecs, audio codecs and Cisco, and then it was there was some limitations for using this, and I decided that asterisk will be probably good point to extend. So that's why asterisk, and also asterisk in that years was most famous, I would say, open source system, and I decided to go with that.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like you needed to kind of increase the flexibility of the solution, and you were finding that you couldn't do that with some of the proprietary things.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And then what other projects did you find your way into from there?
Other projects. So yeah, actually, I started to build cloud systems quite fast after I started to use asterisk and other voice let's say services, not even services, but software. So yeah. This was one startup in US, and I joined to them because they used asterisk. Actually, they started to use asterisk, and it was a time when WebRTC just came,
Right,
just
yeah.
was introduced, yes, and they tried to fight with WebRTC in Asterisk. It was difficult because it wasn't ready in Asterisk, and it wasn't fully ready in WebRTC itself, so it was quite a big challenge. So yeah, and then after that, I just tried other services to deal with WebRTC, and also FreeSwitch to deal with WebRTC, then Camilo, and etc. So yeah, this is not actually so long way to start to be cloud systems engineer, cloud voice systems engineer, but yeah, it was quite interesting and quite challenging.
Yes, I remember those days when the goalposts, if you like, were constantly moving in the world of WebRTC. Exactly, they've probably stabilized a bit now, and there's a lot more use. But in those very early days, and I think, are you talking about 2011, 12, 13, 14, that kind of
exactly
time frame?
Yeah, 12, 13, and 14. So it was terrible. There was terrible years. Yeah, it was really challenging and really hard stuff. Yeah, we tried to use I don't remember, maybe Dobango, probably it's HTML5, not HTML5, sorry, how the first leap was WebRTC and SIP, integrated SIP into the WebRTC. This Dalbango technologies,
Right.
they did this converter from the WebRTC to SIP and from SIP to WebRTC, and it worked not really good. Yeah, so it was a lot of challenges to make this working.
Yes, my earliest experience was JS-SIP, using the JS-SIP stack alongside Asterisk and Asterisk Mini Web Server. So now you've been in the industry a good long time, Yuriy. What projects do you find yourself using most at the moment?
You mean project using most of the moments? Can you,
Well, in terms of, is it mainly Kama-Ilio, or is it mainly FreeSwitch, or a combination of these things?
Okay, got it. Yeah, so my main power, let's say, I'm using Camilo a lot, and I trying to be a really active member of the Camilo community. So this year I had already I was a speaker on the Camilo online conference, so it was first experience in the international community. It was quite interesting, quite challenging, interesting. Yeah, so but it was I think good start. So mostly I'm using Camilo, but I'm also I don't separate like a services. Okay, I'm like an asterisker or free switcher. So if there is some power from the free switch that I can get from the asterisk, I use free switch. If there is opposite side, I'm using asterisk. So there are some services when I used to build this gateway in between voice world and Google text-to-speech and speech-to-text services cloud. So and there is already built model from one person. I don't remember his name. It's Drudge Tayo, probably service. And he prepared some library to do this, and he built module for the free switch, and I used to use.
Yeah, indeed. You're talking about Dave Horton from Dractio.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And yes, he was actually on. He was on our ClueCon Cafe program only last Friday. So cool. A good active community member. What you were saying, that you spoke at the Kama-Ilio World Online Conference. What were you speaking about there, Yuriy?
I introduced some library that allows to do testing with Camilo Lua engine. So as you know, maybe Camilo not only allows you to write configuration files, but it also allows you to write code on Lua, on Python, and on other languages. And Camilo names it, Camilo developers names it as Kemi framework. Yeah. And it's quite good thing, and it's really flexible and gives really a lot of free hands, to do any additional stuff. But like for any other languages, it's other languages, it's always has a tricky part when you can shoot in your leg, just because of you can be protected from the engine as Camilo itself. So and I just decided it's probably will be good to write some testing suite. I'm using by my own. First of all, in the projects I'm using Camilo with Lua, and so I just introduced it because of I made it public. And that was my speech about.
Right, and so you were speaking about did you say a test suite that you had made available for everybody to use?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a real example of giving back to the community. Not only the fact that you've got a test suite in the first place, because testing is a gift to a community, testing software, but then making that test suite available to other people as well.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be more, a reflexive community member to give back. So that's why I'm trying to contribute when it's possible for me, make some small contributions probably, but still to the Camilo, to the Caturn, probably maybe Turn server. So it's also really used in the voice community, at least for the WebRTC. For WebRTC guys, they're using it's a lot because of it's quite good software. I'm trying to be like some person who not only takes but gives as well.
Yeah, that's a good thing to be. Now, I think you mentioned when we were talking before we started recording, Yuriy, that although you're based in the Netherlands now, you're still involved with the Russian VoIP community. How are things in the Russian VoIP community right now?
So, actually it's quite big. And there is a yearly conference in Russia. It's named AsterConf, not AstriConf, but AsterConf. A little bit different name, but still, and it's known by developers from the, and also known by you. I suppose, as you said before, also you were here. And for now, it's growing constantly. And for now, we prepared additional conferences. So in the previous time, it was like one big conference for the Asterisk, for the Free Switch, for the Camilo, for the OpenSIPs and other projects, other open source projects. And for now, we just saw that it's actually big enough to separate to different conference of it's still one ticket, let's say, but you can visit Camilo conference, a separate conference in a different day. Free Switch conference we started in this year, and it's kind of proud because of it's really because of users. They are really interested in this in all this software, and of course Asterisk conference. It's not only about developers, it's also about products based on Asterisk because it's quite a lot. It's also from China, a lot of products like E-Star, probably you maybe heard about them. So it's a hardware companies that makes phones and also PBX. So I would love to say it's really big. It's really interesting to talk with people because of quite a lot of really clever, smart people. So they bring a lot of experience and sharing this experience with other people, not only for the Russian community, but also for the also to the international community.
Yes, very much. As I mentioned before, I'd spoken at that conference in Dubna some years ago. I think it might have been 2014, whereabouts, and my then Asterisk colleague Matt Fredrickson had also spoken at that conference as well. And you mentioned Kama Elio, OpenSIPs, Free Switch, and Asterisk, but I'm guessing that there would probably have been Homer involved there as well with Alexander Dubnikov.
Exactly. Yeah, he were here. I if I remember in 2016 or in 2017. I don't remember, to be honest. But definitely he was, and he told, and Homer, and also for now, if you know, there is new product. It's SIP3. this product also was introduced in the, I don't remember, in the last year, probably, yeah, in the last year, in the Russian conference, as well as in other international conference before all this COVID measures happened.
Yes, yeah. Now, just going back to Kama-Ilio World, am I right in saying that that was your first Kama-Ilio World? You've not been
Yes.
to any of the previous ones, the live ones in Berlin?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I missed it. I wasn't able to do it. Yeah, I was quite far from.
So this begs the question, Yuriy. So, as a first-time visitor, what did you think of Kama-Ilio World? Not necessarily the kind of online nature of it, but the subjects that were covered and the talks that were given and things like that.
I really appreciate Camilo community and also voice community in general. I can't find any toxic atmosphere here. So there is no toxic atmosphere and really friendly. So I really enjoyed because of it's some place when professionals just gather and talk about interesting things, and it's Camilo world, of course, because of there are smart people, a lot of smart people there. So Daniel and Jeff Posner, I don't remember. Yeah,
Fred Posner.
Oh, Fred Posner, and other people like even from a little bit different, let's say, parts of the voice world. Here. So, and it's really interesting to see them, to talk with them in some atmosphere without any of this user lists or backlogs or something like that. So when you just discussing this some interesting events for you, like which software is good, which software is bad, so you just give your opinion, they give in your opinion, and you crossing with their points of view on some things. It's really interesting and really cool. So I really enjoy it.
Yes, I think these conferences where everybody comes together, a big part of the value is the fact that you're with other people who are in the same technology area and using the same software and projects, and you can chat about your experiences. And I think Daniel and Fred and everybody did well on Kama-Ilio World, not only by making the mechanism possible for people to deliver speeches like you did, but of course there was also a facility to get together in the group and chat as you would do kind of in a real life conference. Maybe slightly different, but the aims were still achieved, I think.
Yeah, so it's definitely a really good thing to move this. Yeah.
So, okay, now Yuriy, what is it you're doing at the moment with the different open source software? Who are you working for, and what kind of projects are you delivering at the moment?
So for now, it's quite a lot, I would say. So, and usually it's so as my point is Camilo. So in general, so usually it's some proxies, some smart proxies that doing all this interesting things with third-party authentication, whatever party authentication, checking traffic and all the things. So. But as well, it's some projects when you have to communicate with some third-party services like Google API, because of it's already became part of our world. We can't just move without it because of they given some services that's really useful for us, and also WebRTC. So because of Camilo and other open source software gives really good opportunity to add this new feature like a WebRTC to the organization and to the organizations and to other companies that never used it before or tried and they really liked it. and still be able to communicate with the original SIP world, for example. Because of, for example, in case of Camilo, what I like Camilo and use it a lot for the WebRTC, because of it gives you possibility to kind of glue these two worlds, because of WebRTC world and the usual voice over IP world, they little bit different. So it's actually becoming different, more and more different from day to day. But Camilo kind of gives possibility to glue this together and not to suffer from all this, switching in between of protocols and all the things.
Yes, and so when you so when you say you're gatewaying between these, is this to give customers on the website kind of access to people who are based on telephony systems on the other side?
Exactly. Yeah, and you do, and in that case, you can do it really, really, really easy without any challenge in them. Like, you can make it as easy as it possible, because of the most difficult point in that case, it's to give people possibility to easily switch from one technology to another technology without affecting themselves, because of it's the usual user pain is about again something new. I have again to learn something new. Yeah, and in your case, you can do this like in really smooth way to make it possible to use them without any problems.
And on the WebRTC side, Yuriy, is it more browser-based or is it more mobile applications that are not browsers but are still using WebRTC?
In my experience, this was both. There were both and mobile and the browser-based. So as a backend developer, mostly for me it's quite the same. So it's in different conditions. It's different, of course, but in general it's quite the same. But I still I'm able to support front-end developers with some suggestions and with some ways how to deal with this and some explanations. So and I would say mobile applications really interesting in that case to build, or at least to follow how they build it and to get proper ways, because of you are not limited, in a number of technologies when you're using with browser, because with browser you can use only WebRTC and WebSockets, but with mobile application you can go with a more deep layer. You can go with our usual TLS and encrypted data, and it's quite interesting because of it can act differently.
Yeah, and in the mobile environment, what kind of framework are you working in? I know some people use React Native in the world of the mobile. What do you tend to use, Yuriy?
So with our team, we tried to use React Mobile, so it wasn't bad. So the problem of React Mobile, the only one, because of you have this layer of abstraction from the because of this React framework gives you this layer of abstraction, and if you want to move deeper, you have to build your own modules if React Native doesn't give you this possibility. So we used to work with this as well, but in general we used WebRTC libraries that are already available for the mobile software and built on a Java language, and I forgot for iOS what's Swift probably. They already they already moved to this language, and some signaling libraries that already gives you possibility to use SIP in a mobile application, because of this is really sad, but in Android, at least for the newer versions, for the newest versions, they doesn't support SIP like they supported in 2.3 version 2.3 of Android, because in 2.3 version of Android it was quite good, at least with this needs that people asked in that time, but then they just stopped to support them, and you have to jump from the native library to some third-party library to implement all the things.
Well, that's a bit annoying. I thought that Android used to be pretty good, because in fact for a while, I don't know whether it's still there, but there was an inbuilt SIP client to Android, the shipping on mobile.
Yeah,
wasn't there?
that's
is that
what I'm
still
talking
there,
about.
or did they remove that?
Yeah, so this is a problem because of it kind of exists, but it doesn't give you, as I remember, doesn't give you possibility to use TLS, doesn't give you possibility to use DTLS SRTP for the encrypted data, and we can't forget we can't forget about security, never. So we never can forget about security, and that's why actually this client doesn't support this anymore. So as I remember, it even doesn't support SDS schema, and it's not production ready for now, at least for the requirements that companies give for now. So it has to be secure.
Right. So what have you ended up using instead as the SIP client within Android?
We tried to use PJSIP, PJSIP UA. There is a possibility, but then we jumped with we started to use WebRTC for one project. We started to use WebRTC built for the Java, for the Android, and I don't remember, to be honest, name of the client, because I'm not a mobile developer. I just made this, analysis of the libraries that they have, but there are quite a lot, to be honest, libraries and which available. So probably I remember Linphone probably has library, right? They have paid it off.
I think Linphone has a library. I don't know. I mean, when we tend to think about soft clients for Android, things like Zoiper and Acrobits come up, but I'm not sure how open they are in terms of being able to program against them, as it were.
Yeah, so there you can choose, of course, with already pre-built clients, but not of all support. And this also depends of task you are doing. So, for example, if you're doing like some end user software, so then you can use one. And when you build some SDK, for example, you can't use different libraries just because of there are limitations with the licenses and other things, because of you have to to build this application in different way, because of you actually building this SDK which will be used by other clients and so on. So there are a lot of limitations. That's why it's more difficult way, for example.
Yes, there's a lot of things to think about, for sure. Yuriy, we're coming towards the end of our time together. But I wanted to ask you this question, and that is there anything else you'd like to tell the ClueCon Weekly audience at this stage? We've heard a bit about your career and some of the projects you're involved in, but is there anything else you'd like to say?
You mean in general? So like
just as in general.
Just some words to community, right? You mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So from my point, so regarding their career, so regarding any career and whatever, so I just wanted to say to community, like guys, don't be afraid to use any software you want to use. So don't be like locked on one software. So there is a lot of things around, and just move with this, and it will give you possibility to grow faster because you will learn more. Yeah, because there is a lot of software around. There is the best software in the world. So there is good software like a free switch. There is good software like Asterisk. There is good software like Camilo and RTP engine and OpenShips and whatever. So just look around yourself and find the benefits of each of this software, and move forward.
Yeah, very wise words, Yuriy. And also, I'd just like to just remind our viewers about your giving back, as you've given back that test suite for people to use. That is also another very positive part of being in the open source community. So, Yuriy, thank you very much for coming along and sharing some of your experiences with us. We're very grateful to have you, and I expect we'll see you again at other conferences, like maybe come at Ilio World next time around, and different places. But for now, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll say bye-bye. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, bye-bye.
Take care.